Now, I've heard other smaller YouTubers complain about it, and lately I've been looking at my analytics. YouTube's efforts to kill smaller outdoor gear channels like mine with things like demonetization on all new videos, yeah, even the Coat one, and basically flat AdSense revenue for over the past 2 years. Yeah, I was making the same amount when I had 1,000 subscribers. Well, you know what? I'm just going to keep plugging along. Now, it could be my content or the videos I choose to make, but why talk about that when I can just review the CRKT Batum? Bottom?
Okay.
Batum?
Here's a piece of apple.
A video about a knife I feel like I've already reviewed years ago in the Gonzo G722, which is a ripoff of the Lion Steel SR1, sort of. So let's look at the dimensions of this beast, like the overall length and weight. Blade size, cutting edge. Remember, why make a blade longer and add weight when you can make it taller and add weight that way? The handle size, the grip area. Spine thickness, handle thickness. And what about that? Tallness closed. Knife makers for years have been striving to make the perfect weight to blade ratio, but also keep the cost down. So I get real excited when I see a sub 3-inch cutting edge on a knife that's almost 7 ounces. Keep that weight up, but the cutting edge small, I think is the way the old saying goes. I think that guy was Greg Medford. But instead of paying $550 for a 6-ounce, 2.5-inch cutting edge on a Panzer, now you can get a 7-ounce, almost 3-inch cutting edge on a Batum for about $40. Boy, has knife technology improved. The Batum has a drop point flat ground blade made from Chinese HCR13 MOV. The knife was also made in China. They didn't just import the steel. It has a satin finish and a thumb hole, or rather middle finger hole for deployment. The blade stock is fairly thick up top and down by the edge, so let's say it ain't a slicer. I have larger fixed blades with thinner blade stock. Deployment on the Batum works best with my middle finger, and with some hard, consistent flicks it opens fairly smoothly, with nylon washers on either side of the pivot. Gotta hit it just right though. It locks up solidly with a frame lock that has an over-travel disc. The lock covers about half the tang. CRKT calls this the 4x4 of knives. And if you read Journey Windjunk's review of this, who loaned me the knife, and whose knife and outdoor gear blog you should totally follow, well, he said that with just a little bit of batoning there was some blade play. Now, I don't think I'm going to replicate that here because it ain't mine and I don't really feel that strongly about it now. But if you make a big, heavy, tall knife called a 4x4, you kind of invite people like me to do dumb shit with it, don't ya? It's the 4x4 knives for food prep, wood shavings, and diaper boxes, you wuss. The 10 is okay. If you do a hard fling downward, you can get it to fully deploy. Okay, handle. Handle is a perfect fit for my hand, and it even has a choil up front that invites choking it or choking up on it or whatever the technical term is for touching your blade. That said, the handle is just big enough for my hand. Big hands might not appreciate it. But the knife looks and weighs like a much bigger knife than it actually is, especially once you start comparing your knife to others. It's kind of a small cutting edge when you think about it. Also to note, the edge here between the lock bar and the rest of the handle, kind of sharp. If you run your finger on it fast enough, you can probably get a cut. It might be worth it to run some sandpaper there instead of your finger before you use it hard. I can't say if it's QC thing or maybe it's, they're all like this. Who knows? Chime in if you own it. The pocket clip can only be mounted on the right side of the knife, but tip up or tip down. So suck it, lefties. And lefties are like, you know what? No thanks. I think I'll pass on this one. The clip has the right amount of tension, but it isn't a deep carry. The knife is tall, but not thick in the pocket. But if it's in your pocket, there's not a whole lot of room for, contraband. Plus, if you're wearing your slacks because of a night out on the town or clubbing, it'll swing in your pocket because it's heavy. Comparison section. First up, the Gonzo G722. Very similar construction. Now, by the way, I didn't mean this in the G722 or clones, but more like kindred spirits, although the Gonzo is heavier and has a bigger blade and there's a liner and And the more I say things, the less like they sound. So, I don't know. They're both knives for people who don't like to forget they're still carrying a tool too big for the job in their pocket. The blade is longer on the Ganzo. Both are about the same quality though, although the Ganzo doesn't have as sharp of an edge, near the frame lock. How about an alternative? What about the Cryo 2? Almost 2 ounces lighter, not as big a pocket carry, less crowded grip area, and a larger cutting edge. Why wouldn't you buy that knife? It's only a few dollars more. If I had the choice between the Cryo 2 and this one, the Cryo would win. Although, technically, I really wouldn't choose either. But if there was a hypothetical choice between this knife or that knife. The Cryo is a slicker knife, though, and the Batum has a more pronounced grip area, and half is G10, so the Batum is grippier. So let's offer up a much larger knife that's lighter, if, of course, price is no consideration. But I prefer the K2. It's actually lighter, although honestly, I don't use knives this big for, really anything. I guess food prep would work, or, I don't know, hunting something. I basically like it because it looks cool, which is a real good reason to like things. And how about my Bud K Kukri? The only reason I wanted to show this one comparatively is to show you that the Batum has almost as thick a blade stock as this knife made from a leaf spring on a car. Yeah, so I have no idea why the Batum is that beefy. It's too small a blade for batoning, in my opinion. Okay, so I think Journey Wind Junk liked this one slightly more than I did. And if you own this knife and you need a little more confirmation bias, bookmark his blog. Or even if you don't, bookmark it anyway. He only liked it a little more than me, though. By the way, they make a smaller version of this knife, and it appears the pillar, designed by the same dude, Jesper Voxnaes, is more popular, so, I don't know, buy that one. Sounds like a friendlier pocket carry, the pillar. So, I don't know, think about that or don't, but give the video a thumbs up, subscribe, or don't, comment. Thanks for watching.